Guys, I feel like my TBR list just keeps on growing. I feel like no matter how much progress I make, I can literally read like 20 books in like the month of June, and I still feel like my TBR list just keeps on growing. I literally have books on my TBR list that have been sitting there for like 5 years, 6 years, like 6 years plus. Like same specific books, like certain specific books that have been sitting on my TBR list for so long. And I'm just like, why is it sitting there? Sometimes I look at it and I just question myself, like, why haven't I read these books yet? And sometimes I feel like, A, it's not the right time in my life to read it. B, maybe I might not like it because I'm much more grown now. And C, sometimes I think they're so good and I know I'm going to love them, but I'm too scared to read them. And I don't feel like, I don't mean like horror or like it's scary. I just feel like I'm so scared to read them for like a number of reasons, whether it be like they're way too mainstream, too many people hype it up nowadays. So I'm like, oh, would I really like it? Or I'm just scared to read them. So I have compiled a list of certain books that have been sitting on my TBR list for 5 years, 4 years, 1 year, 3 months, 5 months that I am too scared to read. And hopefully by the end of this video, I might actually garner enough courage to start reading them. So without further ado, let's hop into the list. The first book that I am too scared to read that has been sitting on my TBR list is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. Guys, I've had this book for I think about 2 years on my TBR list. I've been meaning to read it, and I actually started this book last year. But the problem is that I just could not finish it. Like I DNF'd it, and it wasn't because it's boring or it's not interesting. I just had so much going on. I just didn't feel like it was the right time for me to read it. So basically, My Dark Vanessa follows the story of this girl, I forgot her name. This girl, the main character, she had a sexual relationship with her teacher while she was in school. I think she was like 16 years old when she lost her virginity to her teacher. Huge trigger warning, both sexual assaults of minors. Huge trigger warning for this book. This relationship she has with her teacher has such a huge psychological effect on her as she gets older and as she grows up. She literally still maintains contact with him even when she's like in her 30s. It's that bad. Like this is abuse at its peak. Like I'm even surprised like Kate Elizabeth wrote this novel, because like just by the synopsis alone you'd think it's somebody like V.E. Schwab who loves writing these kind of books. I actually thought it was V.E. Schwab that wrote it, or V.C. Andrews. That's another author that likes writing traumatic novels. So I actually started this novel, DNF'd it, and I think why I'm kind of afraid to read it is because I was just like, this is like a huge novel with a lot of like taboo themes, taboo subjects, and I just could not like imagine. Like as you get older, you look at these things and it's like, that is so crazy. So I just could not finish it. I was like, this is a lot to unpack, and I don't think I'm ready to unpack this because a lot. So I'm not completely abandoning My Dark Vanessa. I think in the future I'm definitely going to pick up this book again and read it because the writing was great. I actually liked the character, the main protagonist. I felt like the characters were very realistic, so I am definitely going to pick up this book again in the future, maybe before the year ends. Just as I said that, I know I'm not going to pick it up this year. Maybe next year. It's just that it's a lot of hard themes, and I feel like if you're not ready for this sort of subject, then this book is not for you. The next book I'm too scared to read is actually a book that has been made into a Netflix movie, I believe, and it's called I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid. I actually didn't know this movie was a book first. So when I saw it all over like Book Talk, people were like, oh my gosh, I've read this novel, recommending it. I was like, wait, it was a novel first? So I'm kind of into indie movies sometimes. Sometimes I feel like they can talk about themes that I just don't feel like I'm ready to actually like watch and experience, because like everything you take in stays with you. So I try not to just watch anything or read anything, but I actually just felt like it was going to be a very interesting movie. So instead of watching it because I was scared to watch it, I do this thing when I don't want to watch something I'm scared to watch. I literally go on Wikipedia and I read everything about the movie. So I spoiled it for myself. I went on Wikipedia and I read everything about I'm Thinking of Ending Things, and I was just like, whoa. This is a lot to unpack. I'm happy I did not watch that movie. But I was like, in book formats, I can see it being really, really good because of the huge twist in the end. So I already kind of have an idea of everything that's happening. Basically, this novel by Anne Reid is a psychological novel that questions human consciousness, the psyche, isolation, solitude. And I'm Thinking of Ending Things, that line isn't exactly what you believe it ends up being by the end of the novel. So I'm scared of reading this because I'm just scared of reading it. Like, to be frank, I'm just scared of reading it because I feel like it's going to make me question a lot of things, and it's going to make me like think even deeper, and I just don't feel like I'm ready for it. But I think in the future I will definitely want to read this novel because I am always up for good literary work, especially work that can make me like think on a deeper level, or just work that can make me like just appreciate the author's mind. So I'm Thinking of Ending Things is definitely a novel that's on my list. Not for this, maybe for the second half of this year, but not for now. The next novel on this list is Bunny by Mona Awad. I hope I'm pronouncing her name well, but this is an author that I see a lot. Like, I see her everywhere because people are always talking about her other novel, All's Well, and people are always saying she's such an amazing author, and Bunny is just as amazing. So basically, Bunny tells a story of this girl called Samantha. She goes to this New England school. It's always a New England school in these novels. But basically, Samantha goes to this New England school. She's in an MFA program. If you guys don't know what MFA means, that's Master of Fine Arts. She's in this highly selective program, and she basically doesn't like the company of people. She has this friend called Ava. They're quite close, but she prefers to be in her mind and her imagination than even like dive out and make friends. She's especially suspicious, or just highly like, just keep yourself away from this group of rich girls that call each other Bunny, and they basically speak as one, like they speak at the same time, which is kind of creepy when you think about it. She doesn't really care about this group. She's intrigued by them but doesn't really care about them until she gets an invitation to be part of their like posse. And after that, things sort of spiral. Reading the blurb, and everybody already says that it's a book that kind of reminds you of Heathers. And I absolutely adored the movie Heathers growing up. And that was a movie my sisters and I really treasured. And I think that's one of the driving forces to me wanting to read this novel, Bunny. So the reason why it's been sitting on my TBR list is because I have a lot of other things on my TBR list. Heathers was an amazing movie, but I just think I don't tend to read a lot of like horror, psychological novels. I tend to like stay away from them. That's something I used to read when I was younger, but now as I'm a little bit older, I like to stay away from them. So I think Bunny has been sitting on my list because I'm kind of scared about the whole they speak together at the same time. And also this group, I think, is kind of like a cult. Like, they do these activities that are not extremely legal. So yeah, so I think in the future, maybe this year actually, I might actually end up reading the novel Bunny. But for now, it's definitely a novel I think and I know I'll love, but I'm way too scared to read. The next novel on the list is a very well-known novel. It's a classic, and that is War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. And actually, a month ago, I actually went to Barnes & Noble and bought this book because I wanted to film a reading vlog for you guys of me seeing how much I can read of War and Peace in 24 hours, if I can finish the book in 24 hours, or if I can finish half of the book in 24 hours. So I wanted to film a reading vlog like that, and I'm still going to film the reading vlog probably in the month of July because I have a lot of things lined up in June. But we're gonna see how June is, and maybe I can actually end up filming that reading vlog for you guys. So I have read the multiple blurbs of War and Peace, and I still don't exactly know what it's about. From what I last saw, I think it's about like two noble families falling in love with each other, but I'm not too sure about what it's actually about, honestly. I know Napoleon War is involved in War and Peace. So you can see I don't really have this extensive knowledge about what it's about, and I don't want to go on the summary to know what it's about because I feel like that's going to spoil it for me. So War and Peace is a novel I'm scared to read because it's so darn big. Like, it's huge, guys. I actually wish I had it with me, but I just moved. So it's literally in one of my boxes. But guys, I have an edition. I have the paperback edition, and it's like yay high. It's this big. I'm not kidding. It's a big novel. And I think I'm a little bit intimidated by that. I read big novels usually, but I feel like One Piece is a classic. So it's not like a big novel like Where the Crawdad Sings or Rivers by the Stone, which are also big novels, but they're not like... they're not classic. So it's also going to be the language barrier. And I'm just like... I'm just like, I don't want to fall asleep while reading this novel, you know. I think that's one of the reasons why I've been extremely hesitant to read it. But I know this is a novel that I'm going to knock off my TBR list this year because it's on one of my to-do lists. Film a reading vlog for you guys of me reading War and Peace. The next book on this list is a book that hasn't really been sitting for a long time on my TBR list because it's a fairly new novel that recently came out, and that is Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. Me and Sarah J. Maas, we have this sort of like love-hate relationship. Like, we're kind of frenemies. Like, I like her. To be honest, I actually watch interviews with her. Sort of like, she does these Instagram live things that I actually enjoy watching because I don't necessarily hate her as an author. I know she's gotten a lot of controversy in the past, but I actually sort of like her as an author. I think she's quite interesting to listen to. And I actually enjoyed A Court of Thorn and Roses. I actually enjoyed the series. I read everything. I haven't really delved into her other novels. I started The Throne of Glass in high school and I did not like it. That was a novel I DNF'd, but I think I'm going to pick it up again for an upcoming video that I'm going to disclose because it's a surprise. But I think I'm going to go ahead and pick up that novel because I have a feeling that, because I hear like rave reviews about Throne of Glass being like one of her better novels, so I'm just like, I think I need to revisit it. But I did like Akatar. I think she's an amazing storyteller. Not the best writer, but I think she's great at storytelling. That even if she's talking about like utter nonsense, I feel like you can like still read the book from beginning to the end because it's vibes, guys. Sarah J. Maas writes books with vibes. Even if it's not the best story, it's still like vibes to read. You enjoy it in the moment and then maybe forget about it or you become obsessed with it. I don't know. But yes, the Crescent City novels, I haven't dived into it because I'm just like, one, they're big. Like, Crescent City is big. The first one is big. The second one is quite big. And I'm just like, am I ready for another Sarah J. Maas novel? Because I know it's a trip. It's a trip, and I don't know if I'm ready to hop on the bus to take that trip, guys. But basically, Crescent City follows the story of Bryce. Bryce is enjoying her life. I think she's in college. She's enjoying her life. She's having fun. And then her two best friends or roommates get murdered. And this just transforms her. She's like, I have to find the murderer. I have to go on the hunt. And then the second main character's name is Hunt. And I think he's like a fallen angel or something that's been enslaved and he needs to buy his freedom. And one of the things that can lead him to buy his freedom is by helping Bryce to find out who murdered her roommates. So upon reading the blurb, I was actually like, it actually sounds interesting. And I actually started this novel like a month ago. I know, guys, I have so many books I've DNF'd. I wouldn't even call it DNFing because I'll just start it and I'll be like, it's not time. So it's not even me DNFing. I feel like when you DNF a novel, it's like you're not finishing it because you freaking hate it. It's more like I DNF it because I'm just like, it's not time. I have other books that are like more important that I need to get to. So I read I actually think I read the first chapter. I read the first chapter of Crescent City last month or 2 months ago. And I was like, it didn't sound too bad. Like, really, it actually sounded like something I might enjoy. Like, I like Sarah J. Maas's work. I was like, it actually sounds like something I might enjoy. But again, I just didn't feel like it was time. And that's why I just put it aside. It's a big novel, a lot of characters. And in one of her interviews, I heard her talking about like otters, like the animal. And them being like talking otters in the Crescent City novels. Somebody in the comments tell me if this is real or if she was just like joking around. But I was just like, I'm not ready for the Crescent City novels, but I probably will get to it the second half of this year. But right now I'm definitely scared to read these novels. And also her novels are quite addictive. I feel like when I read A Court of Thorns and Roses, I was just addicted to it. Like I had to finish it. I had to read all the novels to the end. I had to find out what happened with Farah, what happened with Rysand or Rysand. I had to find out what happened with Rysand, Tamlin, everybody. And there were some characters I really liked outside of like their little like group. So yeah, you just fall in love with her characters. And I feel like I'm not ready to be like sort of obsessed with a series that isn't complete. Again, the Crescent City series is not a complete like series. So I'm just like, do I really want to be waiting on these books? So I think that's why I'm scared to read them. But I feel like I might probably get convinced in the latter half of this year. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. The next novel that I am too scared to read, it's on my list, is People We Meet on Vacation. And this story basically follows Poppy and Alex. Poppy and Alex are total opposites. Poppy is this outgoing person. She lives in New York City. She loves going out partying and all that. And Alex is more like of a homebody. He wants to be with a good book, wants to be in his house. And they grew up not really being close to each other until I think they went on a college trip and then they just bonded. And because of that, like every single summer for a decade, they go on these trips together. So I think that makes them like almost in their 30s in this novel. I'm not too sure. But every single summer for 10 years, Alex and Poppy go on vacation together. And I don't know if they have like a romance or just basically them just being friends and like meeting up. But this is sort of their life and their summer until 2 years ago. Everything gets ruined because something happens between both of them and they just stop going on vacation. So for 2 summers, they don't see each other, they don't go on vacation, and Poppy ends up reaching out to Alex because she wants to sort everything out, and he actually agrees. He's like, okay, sure. So she has 1 week in the summer to try and mend their friendship. And I think I've heard like mixed reviews about this novel, but I've heard more good reviews than bad reviews. Some people like it, some people like that like it love it, and some people that don't like it hate it. So it's just like when I read the blurb, it actually resonates with me. So I'm just like, I think I will like it. And plus, I actually simp like for friends to lovers a little bit over enemies to lovers, to be honest. Like I just like the whole like they're friends first and then they start loving each other, then they hate each other and then they start loving each other. So I actually prefer the friends to lovers trope over the enemies to lovers trope. And that's why I feel like I would really love this novel, because I feel like they end up falling in love by the end of it. I don't know, I just have a feeling. I think so. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but don't spoil the novel for me, guys, okay? But so I feel like I will really enjoy this novel, but because of the mixed reviews, I think that's what's been holding me back and making me scared to read it. What better time to read The People We Meet on Vacation than in the summer where most people go on vacation? So this is actually a novel that's on my TBR list for the summer, and I will be reading it before the summer ends. So I'm excited to share my opinion on this novel in lots of videos that I'll be posting. But yeah, I think the reason why I've just been scared to read this novel is because of the mixed reviews on TikTok, Bookstagram, Book Twitter. But I feel like obviously this summer I'm going to get to it and I will have my own opinion on this novel that I am actually excited and I'm looking forward to actually reading it so I can formulate what I think about it and if I agree with the negative sides of the novel or the positives. The next novel on my list that I'm too scared to read, or I'm just a little scared to read, is This Savage Song by V.E. Schwab. And I'm just gonna go ahead and read the blurb for you guys, but I know probably people already know about this novel because it's quite old. I think it came out in 2012. I'm not too sure. But basically, This Savage Song follows the story of Kate Harker and August Flynn are the heirs to a divided city, a city where the violence has begun to breed actual monsters. All Kate wants is to be as ruthless as her father, who lets the monsters roam free and makes the humans pay for his protection. All August wants is to be human, as good-hearted as his own father, to play a bigger role in protecting the innocent, but he's one of the monsters. And yada yada yada. When the chance arises to keep an eye on Kate, who's just been kicked out of her 6th boarding school and returned home, August jumps at it, but Kate discovers August's secrets, and after a failed assassination attempt, the pair must flee for their lives. So I actually, back when I didn't have a book channel and I just used to watch booktube a lot, I think back in 2017, which is 5 years ago, that's the first time that I think, yeah, 5 years ago is the first time I put This Savage Song by V.E. Schwab on my TBR list. And I put it there because I was really obsessed with this booktuber. I forgot her name, but I'll put it in the link though, because I really loved her channel. So the way she was just talking about This Savage Song, like she was just like giving rave reviews about it, and I put it on my TBR list 5 years ago, and I haven't read it 5 years later. And I still don't think I'm going to read it. Hopefully, guys, I'll read it. Honestly, as I'm making this video, I'm getting motivation. Like, I need to knock these books off my TBR list. I have to. Like, I can't give it another 5 years and I still haven't read these novels. That's not good. But basically, This Savage Song was just such, like, I just loved the way she recommended it. And I was just like, I have to read this. And I feel like the reason I'm scared to read it is because it's been sitting on my TBR list for so long that at this point, it's kind of just like, I kind of have to read it. But I have so many other books I need to read. So I think that's why I'm scared. I'm just like, I have to read it, but I have so many other books I need to read. And I think This Savage Song is a duology. Either a duology or a trilogy. So I feel like if I'm reading it, it's a series, so I have to be committed. So someone in the comments, like, convince me to finish this novel because I have to. I feel like I have to. This Savage Song is something I feel like I'm not going to let this year pass with me not reading this. So I feel like as I'm talking, I'm just like, I have to read this novel. And I think I'm going to just put it on like my August TBR list and just knock it out of the park because it's been way too long. Guys, don't be like me. Don't let your TBR list just keep getting long without you like at least reading something off it. Like, again, I'm the kind of person, I will literally see my TBR list and I'll be like, ooh, what to read? And I'll go scroll through my TBR list and I'll see somebody else's recommendation. I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna read that book instead. Don't be like me, guys. Actually try knocking out your TBR list. Kudos to people that read like 100 and something books a year. I did that 1 year and I hope I can do it again in the future, honestly. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.